Relaxing the shoulders and getting a good range of motion all the way up in the C1 disc at the top of the spine, notice as I put my ear to my shoulder and hold for 1 second. We want our joints, bones, and ligaments protected by a fluid released called synovial fluid. We also want our metabolism to be ramped up, so once we begin our workout, our heart rate is not shot. Same concept, relaxing the shoulders, getting a full range of motion as I put my chin as far as it will look over my shoulder, trying to feel it again all the way at the top of my spine, C1 disc, holding for 1 second as I get to that full range of motion. I push my shoulders down, forward, and up and in reverse in a full 360-degree range of motion as I relax my hands. If you're not making a face, then you're not looking for that full range of motion. We want to go through a full range of motion as I poke my elbows up above my shoulders, making a letter V with my forearms. My hands will not pass up my chest. Again, if you're not making a face, you're not looking for a full range of motion. Keeping our palms facing each other until my hands get above my head. I swing my arms to feel like they're coming out of my socket. As I feel them loosening up a bit, I start going a little faster. Same thing going forward. If you're not making a face, you're not looking for that full range of motion. I'm winging my feet out to the right or to the left, 45 degrees, keeping my feet parallel. My feet are shoulder width apart and I'm hinging at the hips, pushing my hips back, keeping my leg as straight as possible, not bending the knee. The goal is to get my fingers to touch the floor by my heel. If you have to bend your leg in efforts to get to the floor, stop right there because we're wanting to loosen up the hamstring. I'm also making eye contact with my hand above my shoulder so I get a good torso rotation, keeping my hand in a straight line above my shoulder the duration of this movement, 4 reps per side. Standing with my heels right outside of shoulder width. Right here I'm keeping my palms facing each other, so by looking at my palms I get a good torso rotation as I squat down, rotating left to right for a rep range of 10 total repetitions. The last of the warm-up, I want to be marching in place, keeping it really simple, getting my heart rate up. If you're advanced, start with sprints in place, or build up to high knees in place, to running in place, sprint in place. I want to focus on keeping my knees outward as if I had a belt around them, keeping the knees pushed out onto the belt. What I'm using first is a Swiss ball, very simple to use. As we progress, we can get smaller with the object that we use for assistance. I step a little bit away from the wall and lean on the ball, taking my weight off of me and onto the ball. therefore being assisted by the ball. As you can see, nothing changes as I make that move harder. Keeping my knees out, heels right outside of shoulder width, and trying to maintain an upright body by keeping my shoulders back. My hands are under my shoulders and spread outside of my body. My fingers are spread as far as they can go, so I feel in control of this movement as I screw my palm down to the ground, fingers still facing forward and elbows turned facing back. My hips as high as my shoulders and feet as wide as my shoulders or wider will give me support. I'm bringing my hand to the top of my rib cage and placing it right back in a straight line under my shoulder. My hips are thrust forward so my abdominals are engaged, and I drive my knee as far forward as I can and place it back. For the back row, my goal is to target the lat muscle. To get familiar with the lat muscle, I can activate them from the resistance of a towel laying on my stomach. As I bring the towel to the top of my chest, I lift up my upper body from the waist. Next, once I feel how to turn those lat muscles on by squeezing my shoulder blades together, I progressively overload the muscle by using my body weight as resistance with the suspension trainer. Once I grab the handles, I walk back with my arms straight, taking all the slack out of the suspension trainer. This is important because I want to be as explosive as possible on the concentric, which is the pull. And if I'm walking in with my arms bent, or when I'm finished walking out with my arms bent, I'm using unnecessary energy. We need that energy for the next set again to be as explosive as possible on the pull. To target my shoulders, I place my hands on the wall, chest height, as I walk my feet back a little bit to give myself a little resistance. As I lean into the wall, tucking my chin into my chest, and again thrusting my hips forward, similar to the cat stretch in yoga, arching my back, crunching my core, and activating my abdominal. As my shoulder muscle develops, I progressively overload the muscle by doing the pike press. The goal here is to be inverted. Again, I tuck my chin into my chest and fall forward, touching my forehead to the ground and pushing back towards my hips. To make this movement harder, I place my feet on a deficit, and once I can get 8 to 10 reps, I throw my feet on the wall and do handstand push-ups. What I'm doing here is again taking all the slack out of the suspension trainer, and once I have the suspension trainer really tight, I pick my thumbs up to my armpit and my elbows poke back behind my body. This will ensure that every time I take a step back, I have a proper range of motion for my body to feel comfortable in this exercise. As you see, what happens next, the cue here is to tap the knee, don't bang it, and push up through the heel. The next movement is really good for men as it is for women, as it engages the hips and requires the gluteus to activate as you thrust your hips up. My palms facing up, my arms are held down 45 degrees, and my shoulder blades are squeezed up so my chest is extended, therefore placing me in total control of this movement. To advance, you can place your feet in the suspension trainer, and the same concept applies, keeping my shoulder blades squeezed up. Not only am I activating my gluteus and strengthening my hips, but I'm also reprogramming my posture to be upright by squeezing my shoulder blades back. Okay, I cannot take credit for this, which are the 3 pillars to working out according to Bruce Lee: flexibility, strength, and endurance. This is the cardiovascular endurance part of the workout. For incorporating cardio, I would definitely make sure my client is incorporating a healthy nutrition. The setup here, I use a work-rest ratio of 20-10, 20 seconds work and 10 seconds rest, for a total of 4 minutes. This will equal to 8 rounds. Before advancing to placing my hands on the ground, I want to make sure that I have good flexibility in my hips. With my palms facing forward, I always bring my hands back down from lightly bouncing them out to the side, above my head, back out to the side, and down. That's 1 rep. Start with 10 reps. As you advance, go up to 25 or 30 for your cool down. This will help loosen up the shoulders and chest. For 30 seconds to 1 minute, start by leaning on the wall or holding on to something for assistance. Finally, unassisted, you can also hold a weight held up by your chest to push you down further.